Coach, we just heard Tom Izzo recently get pretty pissed about the question about, dealing with the transfer portal because it just opened while also, preparing your team for a Sweet 16 or a tournament game. But I'm curious to get your take on this. With the current climate of college basketball, how difficult do you think that is for these coaches to prepare for a tournament game while they also know that there's a good chance that, 2 or 3 guys that they might rely on 4 minutes are already kind of looking at where they might be going in the portal next?
Yeah, it's brutal. By the way, great Yankee gear, by the way. The Yankees, it's only about one team. Absolutely love the Yankee gear.
Hell yeah.
Having said that, I'm 100% with Tom. And here's the portal's open 12 months a year, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. All right? Like you saw the kid that's going to St. John's from Arizona State. I mean, the portal opened Monday. He committed Tuesday. The portal's open 7 days a week, 12 months a year, 24 hours a day. Having said that, the day of Selection Sunday to the end of the tournament should be a dead period. 100% should be a dead period. We have dead periods in the recruiting calendar throughout the year. Why would you put coaches and players and everyone else in a situation where you're getting ready to play the biggest game of your career as a player or as a coach? All right, you've had this unbelievable journey to get to this point. It's a Sweet 16, and Justin Pippen is putting his name in the portal, and he plays for Michigan, and they're in the Sweet 16. Why would we be in that moment? It's so easy to say, you know what? Brackets come out, boom, dead period. The Wednesday after the championship game, it gets live again. And then we eliminate all of this conversation. It just makes common sense. You're putting players in a bad place. And then, even the coaches, you don't know who's in the portal and who's not in the portal because, these teams that are playing, you don't have those conversations after. But the agents are running recruiting. You don't even, the parents, yeah, but it's the agents that are totally running. Guys are in the portal and guys are talked about in terms of being shopped. They don't even know they're being shopped. These are agents, and they're not even agents. They're more the old school runners. Remember the old school runners, you have a guy on campus and be working a guy? These guys
Basketball
are legitimately, big. And these guys are legitimately making calls around, and they're setting the market. Now, here's what the coaches got to do. The coaches, one, if we got to fix that. The second thing is, they're throwing out $2 million like it's a $20 bill. Oh, yeah, my guy's worth $2 million. Some of these coaches got to call their bluffs. Say, you want $2 million? Good. Let them go take $2 million. Because there's very few players. I'm going to give you an example. Indiana, they spent a ton of money in the portal, didn't they?
Yes.
A ton of money. Well, did they play in the NCAA tournament?
No, but they will. They had to spend all that money to get to this point to get DeVries.
Yep.
To get the new coach.
That's fine. Look, I'm a big DeVries guy. But, if you go around the teams that spent all that money, they're not playing now. Look, K-State paid Coleman Hawkins $2 million. Not in the tournament. I can go through the list of all the guys that overspent, overpaid. Guy Great Osobor went to Washington. Not in the tournament. You got to get the right dudes. If an agent is just trying to get the bottom line, and look, I understand their jobs, but to me, the coaches have got to say this is pro sports.
Coach, we're having the same. It is pro sports, but in pro sports, at least there's a market and there's a calendar and a schedule and guidelines and a cap. And so that is the difference. And I think in football, we've had this conversation a lot about how there's going to be guardrails coming soon. We hope there's a ruling that has to be happening relatively
July
soon.
1.
Okay, so it's been moved to July 1. So that ruling's coming. Then there's a salary cap. Then there's a rev share. And then there's a panel that has to approve every NIL deal to see so now there's allegedly going to be a market out there. But how can you tell what the market is? Because the market is whatever somebody's willing to pay you. I don't know how they figure that whole thing out, but I do think that there is a time coming for some guardrails. Let's get back to that transfer portal being in the middle of the tournament. That's actual ineptitude, right? Because the reason why they do these transfer portals is because they say the schooling system, they have to be able to transfer into the next school before the next semester. But football doesn't have their transfer portal, their spring one, until April. So that could easily have been moved till after the tournament because there's no school implications. It's happened during the college football playoff, where teams were in the college football playoff and some of their players felt obligated to get into the transfer portal because the portal opened in the middle of it and they thought they would miss the time. And we said, why don't you just move that till after the thing? They said, well, they have to be able to transfer in before the next semester starts. So schooling is kind of the thing. So then the answer is like, well, take that one out of the fall, keep the one in April whenever, the season's over, OTAs and spring's over. You guys should do the same thing. Why do these decisions get made up front? They should see the train wreck that is coming. You would think they should be able to do that. Yep. But we can correct it, I think. I think we can correct this shit. Don't you?
We have to correct it. I mean, there's no answer to this is no brainer. I'll tell you why. Because the people that make the rules a lot of times aren't the coaches. The people that make the rules are, athletic advisors, presidents, and they're not living it. And so they can't look at it through a prism of what they're looking at. Bottom lines, they're looking at whatever. They're not looking at the prism of the actual full experience. I mean, to me, how the NCAA doesn't have people on board, and quite honestly, the NABC, who represents the coaches, has got to be more involved in this thing. The Football Coaches Association is very, very involved. Our association has got to be more involved and more powerful to have a voice that is heard and be basically a sounding board of the coaches.
You need to be in the room where it happens.
Get the right people on those committee.
Need to be in the room where it happens.
Hamilton. Here we go.
Bingo. I'm cultured, okay? But if you're in a room where it happened, then you can obviously have say. If you're not in the room, you're waiting on what everybody else is saying.
Exactly.
And that's not just sports either. That goes in. We need the right people in the rooms. Mm-hmm. We need the right people in the rooms, proper voices at least being represented, and hopefully we'll be able to figure that out in all stages. But college sports needs it to happen
100%.
quick. College sports needs to happen quick because there's a lot of shit that happened. COVID happened. Now we get an extra 2 free years. Guys are allowed to sit out 6 years. Now it's do we still have the 4 years of eligibility rule? That's being phased out. Now we get NIL. Now we got it's everything needs quickly because it's continuing to go like this. And the product is...
It's not sustainable.
Yeah, but the product is more like now than maybe... ever. You look at college football, I assume college basketball is going to be the same thing. It's let's make sure we preserve this great thing that we have. I think we're all on the same page.